got this from someone I know, very lucky to get given it, but it's quite good because I do quite like restoring stuff like this. Trying to get old stuff working again, repairing old stuff. So anyway, it's been damaged heavily by I'm not sure, probably a lot of salt. It was obviously in a very salty location, or very close to the ocean, I should say. So it's got, well, I'll just show you the radials. This is what they looked like when I pulled the antenna down. I thought, hang on, those aren't very nice and shiny. Yeah, as you can see, that's the 6 meter loading coil there. I think you can even upgrade the radials on these and put longer ones on or something, and it brings the SWR, changes the bandwidth of the SWR on 6 meters or whatever. But anyway, I won't bother. And this is, I'm going to go and start to go into some of the things I've done to it. Actually, I'll come back to the radials later. So what I did was, when I pulled, the first thing I did was, because you can pull these apart here, we can just unscrew this what do I call it, with the Allen key. Unscrew this, I don't even know what the name of that, let's just say nut. And I unscrewed that. That's because that's the first thing, because I know they sometimes can get build up water and stuff in here. When I pulled this off, I pulled it out and all this water came running out. So, and what's happened is, when I got it, I noticed this cap on the end here had a little bit of a split at the top, and yeah, it cracked then in the fiberglass as well, and water just ran down here, ran down the pipe. And what I did was, because you can pull these out, so I pulled that whole antenna bit out from inside there, the whole vertical element, the brass element, I pulled that all out, and all those little foam pads are all falling apart, all soaked. And I pulled this in half here, because you can unscrew that and it comes up and you get two halves. And I took that over to the tap and filled this up with water. I could just see it dripping at the bottom, so I thought, there we go, that's our leak there. So anyway, so that's a nice troubleshooting tip. If you somehow getting water, and you can fill the whole thing up with water and just sit it up and just see where the water's dripping out. Anyway, so I found that. I've just siliconed that up, and I've also put a little bit of silicone in this joint here, but it does have a rubber bung in there to stop the water from coming in. Anyway, and very corroded, so I had to clean out all the inside, all the brass tube, and all this around here, it was all corroded. I've cleaned that all up, and there's a little capacitor. You may know it's a 5-puff capacitor. There's a few different designs, versions of these, I should say. There's a 5-puff capacitor that comes from here and goes across to this point here, and that to just, well, that's just disintegrated. Well, it's still bits of the capacitor left, but it's just fallen apart because it's just been sitting in water. It's just corroded. Anyway, and the coax that was attached to this was all destroyed. I'm not even trying to restore that. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, it's a bit of a shame, but I've given it a bit of a clean here. I've obviously scraped that off. I found a knife was very useful just to scrape off any bits of crystallization or any corrosion that sort of builds up, and you scratch it off. I don't know if I know if it's aluminium or galvanized this is. I'm not actually sure. I think that's just galvanized by the sound, feels of it. It's all just galvanized. Now I'll go to the radials, and obviously didn't do a very good job of galvanizing these radials, because as you can see, they're very rusty. Obviously it was in a very rusty environment, you know, not what you normally have in land, but anyway. So very rusty. These are just, it's just shocking. And this one here, so this one, I've got the sandpaper and sanded it off. You can see it's nice and shiny, but this is just going to rust again, so I'm going to have to paint it with, because even you can get it, but you'll see that there's still rusty dots on here, even after running the sandpaper over it for quite a while. You can't, the camera's not going to focus. Anyway, You got to put rust guard. Now it's not focusing at all. There we go. Now you got to put rust guard on this. So and I'll spray paint this. Just got to make sure not to spray paint the threads, because if you spray paint the threads, then you won't get a good connection. So I might just chuck some grease or something in the threads just to stop the water from getting in there and corroding things. And I'll just sand back to here and just go from there. So yeah, they could have done a better job of galvanizing that, but anyway. And but yeah, this whole thing, so don't be afraid to pull that whole thing out, because this all comes out. This whole thing just slides out, and there's the whole antenna element slides out. It's just in the fiberglass casing, so don't be afraid to slide it out. Now, the other thing is, so when I pulled it out, all those bits of foam all fell apart, and they were all just soaked, the bits of foam, and they're just deteriorating. They get like that, so just nothing you can do, unfortunately, just except for pull them off. And then you can get yourself foam like this and just cut it. I've got a big block of this foam from an old mattress, and just cut it up. Oh, come on, focus. And just cut it up into squares like this. And I obviously cut a hole in the middle of it and slid it along the brass rod. Now, there's little traps and everything along, so you might have to pull it apart. You can pull it apart in a few sections and then cut bigger holes to try and pull this over traps. Anyway, so I'll cut big squares out of it, slid it on the brass and hot glued it in place, obviously along here. And what you're trying to achieve is, well, before you slide this in, you're going to have to cut off some of some of this foam so it can fit in here. You don't want too much pressure on this fiberglass rod here. So anyway, so I hot glued this on because you don't want them sliding around. So I hot glued this in place, and it slid in relatively easily into this fiberglass case. So you can always take the top off and do that separately if you have to, but I just did it all in one go. I've still got to get a replacement capacitor for this, so yeah, and put that on this LC circuit down the bottom here. But this seems to work all right. And the hot glue held all the separators in place. What you're trying to achieve is, when you've got all this foam, I'm just going to hold this because otherwise it's going to make a rattling noise. But what you're trying to achieve is when you shake this, to not hear a rattling noise at all. You can hear this thing at the bottom here is rattling, but when you shake this, it should not be rattling anywhere else. And the only place it's rattling is back here because I haven't put that in properly, but it's not rattling. There's no rattling anywhere else. You'll get some of these and the foam's just falling apart so much that you just shake them and you just hear this rattling, and the whole bit of brass is rattling inside. Anyway, so it seems to have worked quite well, and I'm quite happy with how the foam's ended up, just hot gluing it on, so I'm quite happy. And you can see these U-bolts here, they've all just corroded as well. The galvanizing is quite poor in these as well. And even this, like this is, I've given this a bit of a clean a few times, but this is just covered in, like, you can still see it here. Now, this camera, I must say, I thought iPhone would have a good camera, but it just doesn't want to focus on anything. Even that, I've cleaned that a few times, and it's just still all the salt on here. It's just, anyway. Yeah, I can probably clean in there as well. Anyway, it's actually, I think there is an issue with these, with these screws here as well. There's another issue, but I'm not aware of that. I do remember. I don't think it really concerns me. Anyway, don't have anything to say about it because it was a while ago I heard from that problem. Anyway, it's good that it's, well, I'm gonna have to replace the capacitor, and I'll chuck it all together, and I'm gonna sand all these little rusty rods down, and get them nice and shiny like this one, just so that they hopefully last a few more years. I think that's about it. But yeah, if you get water in this whole thing, it'll just destroy everything. You have to pull it all apart, pull the whole thing out, dry everything out, and go from there. And it also runs down the coax and destroys your coax run as well. So, a bit of a shame, but we managed to get most of it going.